Welcome, Tanya.
Thank you for having me.
Tanya is going to be one of 53 authors that are going to be at the Festival of Books and Creativity in June at the 12 Mile Crossing at Fountain Walk in Novi, Michigan, that is. Um, Tell us about your books. What do you have? What are you bringing with you?
Bringing everything.
Good answer.
I'm hoping to, we're all readers, all of us, whether you read the book, whether you listen to the book, whether it's physical form, electronic form, we love books. That's what the whole
Mm-hmm.
event is about. I actually have reading journals that I created, both in paperback and hardcover, that I will have at
Oh,
the event. And I have everybody's favorites to show. So there's paperback, has a nice little
ooh,
dragonfly on the cover.
nice.
And then we even have hardcover ones. So everybody's other favorite. We got a nice little reader there with some butterflies
Mhm,
coming through.
mhm.
So we can log 200 books in these. So we'll have these for all ages, to
Nice.
log their books in there. And then we have the stuff that's not for all ages. We have the stuff for the adults only. Now, my first book, of course, I will have with me. It is in paperback. It's in hardcover. It has some lovely little color images on the inside for whoever's
Ooh,
speaking. And I will have a black and white version that will be on sale that weekend as well for those that just
ooh.
want to dip their toe into some dark fantasy. We
Mm.
got vampires, demons, angels, the fates, and a reimagining of Adam and Eve woven through the plot. There's
Ooh.
spice, there's trigger warnings. um, but I will have all three versions with me, and I'll have a code for our Kindle girls that they can
Mm.
scan so they can download the book if they want, and our Audible girlies. They'll
Oh.
be our code because the book is on there. It's already been narrated and by Paige Reisenfeld, so that will be available for them. And of course, though, once our lovely main character figures out who and what she is in the first book,
Mhm.
cut over to the second book.
Nice.
So in this one, it goes more into the consequences for my main character, not just for her though, but for all of humanity as to her being
Mhm.
brought back to us.
Ooh.
So this one though, right now is only in paperback, but it is in
Okay.
color as well. Um, and it does continue the whole story. And I will say my fire demon has a little more fun in this book as well.
Ooh.
Not as much as the third book, which I am working on.
So there's book number 3 coming.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, I've kind of taken the leash off of Ademia.
Oh.
She is full demon in book three. Book one and two to me are not that dark. Book three, I have fully embraced the dark fantasy title.
So if you think that there's a trigger, just go with yes, there is because it's dark fantasy.
Yes, it's dark fantasy. There is spice, but you do have everything in here. There are warlocks. There's celestials. Yeah,
Oh.
there's a whole convention of all different kinds of characters that need to meet and discuss what they're going to do about the drama that Jenna's return has brought upon all of them. And going into book three, it's not a spoiler because it does hint at the end of book two. We're
Okay.
getting more into our werewolves and lichens and
Oh.
bringing them into the fold. Um, but all my characters are a little sassy, very strong.
No.
Never. Um, everyone's favorite quote from book two has been, "How the hell did my life go tits up so spectacularly?"
Hmm.
So I did have to put that on a canvas bag, so I have those two along with a quote from my fire demon, which I cannot say on any videos, or we might get in trouble.
Ooh, so that means they have to come and see it in person then.
Exactly. You know? And, there's quotes from book 1 on bags, there's quotes from book 2 on bags, I've got stickers, I've got bookmarks. It's everything all of us readers want. We've got our shelf
Mhm.
trophies, we've got our little bags to carry, we've got our stickers. I even have magnets because I like putting things on my fridge.
Me too. It's an old habit, you know?
It really is. I mean, that used to be the thing when we were younger.
Mhm,
Is you had little cute little magnets from places you'd go, and now it's
mhm.
not places you go, it's books you read.
Well, you can do both.
Very true.
So, you've got book 3
Yes.
in the works. Is there, like how many books is this going to be?
Depending on how the characters behave, because
Okay.
they've already thrown the plot. And when I was writing book 1, they took the plot and said, "Yeah, we've got another idea." So, um, it should be in total maybe 5, maybe 6,
Okay.
because there's a lot of side characters, and I like to give their backstory. I like to make sure they're fully developed, and I've still been learning my craft,
Mhm,
from the first book to the second book, and now I feel a lot more confident. So book 3
mhm.
is definitely just a lot more mature,
Okay.
just all around, and I can just imagine that book 4 is going to be even darker.
That's awesome.
But I'm also working on another book at the same time.
Ooh.
So I've got another book. It's a real kind of coming of age. It is fiction, but
Hmm.
it doesn't center around the vampires and demons and
Oh,
angels.
wow.
But it is a woman growing up from a young kid up to being an adult. Everything she goes through, both from some really dark times in her life and attempt that she made. That book actually will be called The Sweetest Revenge,
Oh.
because she discovers that really that's the best revenge you can get. And people are bringing you down and everything else. It's just to live your life and
Mhm.
own it. So I'm also working on that one at the same time.
Multiple projects. It is how writers beat writer's block. You
Yeah.
just keep creating another new story. At least that's what I do.
And that's what I've been doing. And like the other book I'm working on, The Sweetest Revenge, is something that I've had a lot of people tell me to write.
Okay.
There's a couple elements from my own life, as a teenager, and
Ah.
things that I'm using in the book. So using that, and you know, although I've had some people tell me to turn it into a mafia romance, because
Ooh.
they're like, every good mafia story loves that broken girl who becomes strong and then challenges that mafia leader.
True.
So I might I'm tossing around the idea of throwing that in there and
Mhm.
dipping my toe into that genre.
Is there any other genres that you're gonna dip your toe into?
I have a couple thoughts on some. I've actually got a bunch of poetry that I wrote as a teenager
Oh.
that I've been considering typing up and just releasing,
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
because, it's where I started. That's how I started.
Yep.
And, if it ever inspires somebody else to like give it a go,
Mhm.
then that would make me happy. Because believe me, some of those poems I read them now and I cringe. So
But
somebody
you
else can someone else can read and be like, wow, I can write better than that. Then hopefully they'll do it.
Well, and not only that, but everyone has to start somewhere.
Yep.
So what got you writing?
Honestly,
Mhm.
um, my poetry really started because my sister had read my journal. And so I used my poetry to kind of just get my feelings out.
Okay.
Um, from there, it's like I love to read. As a kid, my parents had the Encyclopedia Britannica. Yes, I'm dating
Mhm.
myself again.
I we had one too, so
Um, but I would read all the old classics. I would read Shakespeare. I read
Mhm.
Edgar Allan Poe. I loved Longfellow.
Mhm.
Um, and just the way that those stories could just take me away from the day, the
Yeah.
stress, or even when I was in a good mood, just to immerse yourself in another world and other characters was just something that, it's like if I could do that for somebody else,
Mhm.
I always thought that'd be pretty awesome. And for the longest time, though, I let fear stop me and,
Mhm.
doubt and naysayers and everything. And then, I finally got to a point in my life where I'm like, worst that can happen is I never sell a book, but at least I
True.
wrote it. And when I started writing, kind of like, I've heard you say before, not like anybody has to read it. Just write
Mhm.
it. Write it
Yep.
and maybe give it to somebody you trust to read it and edit it and go from
Mhm.
there. See how you feel. Baby steps.
So who designs your book covers? Do you do that or do you have someone do that for you?
I do it.
Awesome.
Um, I designed both of my book covers. My son, Christopher, actually helped me design the book cover for book two. He made some modifications to it, which made it a lot better
Mhm.
after I first designed it. But the formatting on the inside and the artwork on the inside, I actually work with a formatter.
Okay.
Um, she does all that for me. And then the character art on my stickers and on my bookmarks, I actually hired a professional artist to do. And she drew those by hand. So
Ooh.
no AI,
I knew that one.
no
That
AI.
part I already knew.
um, but yeah, so I like, and I did actually have a digital artist create some first stuff when I was first starting out.
Mhm.
Um, but she would take digital artwork and then she modified it to
Okay.
fit, you know. Um, but I really wanted something that was unique and hand drawn, and I wanted to support other artists as well.
Mhm.
So I did. I found an artist actually on Instagram, and her and I talked, and I love the images.
That's the best part when you can find that person that you can go, I need it to look like this, and they come back and you're just like blown away. Like that's exactly it.
Well, and I create character cards for her.
Okay.
So I give her a couple images of a couple people that I find on the internet that
Mhm.
have attributes of my characters. I
Okay.
tell her how tall they are, any little characteristics about them that should be highlighted or pointed out. Um, like my deaf character,
Mm.
his eyes can be black, they can be white, or they can be normal. So in my artwork,
Ooh.
I've got one of each. He's got normal eyes, black eyes, and white eyes.
Interesting.
So yeah, all those little tidbits, just to try to help bring the characters to life.
Mhm. Every little bit of that really enhances someone reading it because then they can visualize that character.
Yes. And I'm a sucker. I mean, that's why it's like the start of all my chapters have artwork for who's talking.
Mhm.
That's why I wanted the character art drawn because it's like I'm a visual person. You
Mhm.
know, I like to see it. If people come up to my stand, it's always no, pick it up, take a look, thumb through it, look at the pages, feel the pages.
Yep.
You know, it just to me, it's just who we are. It's like
Mhm.
just by looking, it's like it's not a no touch. It's a book. It's supposed to be touched.
Yeah. So, are you a plotter? Do you have an outline and all of that, or are you a pantser and you just write and go?
I write and go, and my when I say my characters talk in my head, they
Mhm.
they scream, they shout, they kick, um, they get gagged. No, it just I did write these characters actually for years on role play sites
Oh,
for about
okay.
10 years. Uh, the the plot's taken a little bit of a twist because of
Mhm.
the characters, again, doing their mischief. So they changed things up a little bit on
Mhm.
me when I was
Yeah.
writing it into a book. But for the most part, their stories and who they are and their backgrounds, I know them like I know the back of my hand. You
Mhm.
know, they're they're constantly in my head, no matter what I'm doing. And when I write them, I mean, as you know, your books, your characters just take on a life of their own, almost as if
Yes,
they're
they do.
a real person next to
Yep.
you. Like, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't do that, you know.
Mhm.
So I know a lot about them. I know where they could go. I know the other
Mhm.
characters I could still bring in that I haven't even brought in yet.
Oh.
Yeah, I used to write a banshee. I mean, I used to write a lot of different characters. So there's still a lot. And the fun part of this too has been like I've had people argue with me about my characters.
Argue?
My mother, after reading the first book,
Okay.
argued with me about what two of my characters are, swore to me that they were witches
Okay.
when they're not. But she told me I was wrong. And they're witches. And because of what they do, they're of course witches. For 5 minutes until I had to keep reminding her, and others reminded her, I wrote them. I know what they are. And they're not witches.
Oh, goodness.
But it's also, I've had other people come up to me and they're like, after the first book, they're like, wait a minute, are they going to do? And I'm like, you're going to have to wait till book 2 or 3 to find out. Like, I can't tell you that. But it's like having that input from readers and everything is
Mhm.
just, I honestly hope I never get used to it because it's
Yes.
humbling that somebody is that invested in a story that I
Mhm.
created.
That is so cool, and when people come up and give you feedback, whether it's in person or online, those ever important reviews,
Yes.
um, it's always good no matter what the review is, no matter what the comment is,
Hmm.
because that's how we advance our craft.
100%. I actually saw a reader say they don't like to leave authors 3-star reviews or 2-star reviews. And it was on Threads. And I
Hmm.
told them, I'm like, honestly, I want those 2-star reviews. I
Yeah.
want 3-star reviews. But I want a comment. I want to know what
Yes.
about the book made you feel that way. Is it just
Hmm.
not your type? Is it just not your speed? Not enough spice? Not enough this
Right.
or too much? You know, and not that, but it'll help the next reader who looks through the reviews. Maybe what you didn't like, they do like.
Well, and not only that, but that feedback is so important.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a 2-star or a 3-star, it's hard to believe when you look at a book and all they have is 5-star reviews.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, did they pay their readers to do that?
Yep. I always wonder the same thing. It's like, and I'm an author.
Yeah,
And when I go look at books, it's like, like these all seem a little too good.
right. Exactly. Because everybody's work, I don't care whose work it is, there's always that room for improvement
Mm-hmm.
because we are so close to our works. I mean, you've been
Yes.
writing these characters for years,
Yes.
and they're and you become so close with them that it's like, well, did I miss something?
Mm-hmm.
And you might. Hopefully your
Exactly.
editor catches it, but things happen.
Exactly. But you're right. I mean, and that's the biggest thing is that we're always learning.
Mhm.
And because we're so close to them, it's absolutely possible that we think the way we write something will come across one way, but we know where else the story is going.
Yep.
Somebody that's reading it, they don't know. So it could
Yep.
come out across a completely different way.
Exactly. And that's, social media is by far the biggest example of that. How many times do you read something on social media and then you read all the comments and everybody's arguing about what the original poster actually meant?
Yeah. Hmm.
And it's like, and then, it's like, has anyone bothered to ask them what they really meant?
And I think, unfortunately, in today's society, a lot of people would rather just argue about it
Oh,
or
yeah.
be like, oh, I'm right, you're wrong. And they just walk away. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, there's so much else. And I was asked actually at the Comic Con I was just at.
Mhm.
Somebody came up and asked me. They're asking about the characters, and they're like, "Well, so they're like, how do you publish?" I'm like, "Well, I publish myself. I'm an independent author."
Mhm.
And like, "Oh," they're like, "Well, don't you want to be published by somebody?" And after talking about the characters, I told them like, honestly, right now, no.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose control of who my characters are. I'm still developing them. I'm still presenting them to
Yeah.
everybody. And a trad publisher, they have their opinions about things.
Well, and the one thing that a lot of the trad publishers that are what their goal is versus what your goal
Hmm.
is completely different.
Yep.
Although the ending goal of both wanting to sell books is there, but they want you to write to market, not write for the sake of writing and sharing your writing. So
Hmm.
there's two different goals there. And I think through all of the interviews that I've done and talking with authors in person, I really think the indie authors they have a huge advantage because they get to have their voice
Yeah.
and their creativity. So, what does Tanya do outside of writing? Because there are other hours in the day.
Are there?
Well, maybe.
Well, I do work full time. I'm
Okay.
customer service manager, and I still try to help with some data analysis when they need me. But I work 50, 60 hours a week doing that. And then I try to write and try to market
Mhm.
and try to post on social media, which, if anybody checks my socials, yes, I suck at it. I really do. You'll get posts from me, but it's not going to be a consistent basis because my work schedule. And
Mhm.
I have a son who's a senior in high school this year. So all the fun with that. And I have two cats. One cat is his, one cat's mine. People will see
Mhm.
him on my socials. Loki loves to come and make himself known, as he did before we started the
Yes.
interview.
Yeah, he just walked right across the screen.
He's like, Mom, I got to make sure you know that I'm here. And he
Yep.
is. He's actually right on the
Here's
other
your
side.
tail.
He is laying down on the other side of my laptop right now, just kind of hanging out. He's not far.
Just in case you need another appearance.
Exactly. He's like, I'm here, Mom. We're
Yeah.
good. Um, but yeah, I mean, trying to do all that and trying to keep track of inventory and sales and trying to figure out what's the best way to do something. Um,
Mhm.
I actually learned a lot when with your group, the Creative Slingers of Ink. It's a great resource for authors that are just starting out. And, especially even just being able to talk to other authors when we were at the little coffee shop events.
Yes. Yes.
I learned quite a bit there. It's just that was a learning experience for me. And I've taken that and I've built upon it, and it's helped my confidence and everything with doing these kinds of things.
Yay.
When we first did the first event, I think I sat there like, hi.
Yeah,
Like,
you would not recognize the previous Tanya at all.
yeah, it was pretty much everybody else was sending people like, hey, she's got a book over there too. Because I would just sit there and be like, I have a book if you want to read it. There's a book. There's a book. Now I go to events, and you would have been so proud of me. Every time somebody kind of showed interest, it's like, hey, do you like vampires, demons, and angels? What if I throw in the fates and a reimagining of Adam and Eve with spice and sugar warnings? And people were like, that sounds interesting. Let me know more. So
Yay!
a big difference from the beginning
Yeah,
coffee shop.
exactly.
But
So,
baby authors need that, and they should look
yeah.
for communities like yours to join and get that experience.
So, what other events are you doing? I know your calendar is very full this year. You are the traveling woman.
I am. I'm actually going to be at Dreaming Dirty in Michigan in April, which is, I think, the weekend of April 12th.
Okay.
I will be at Lust in Virginia Beach, which is the weekend of June 1st.
Hmm.
Then we have our event in Novi.
Yes.
And then I have the Roaring Readers in July,
Oh, wow.
which is in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's at the Reed
Ooh.
House. And then I have Getting Witchy with It in Salem, which I believe is
Okay.
in August or
Ooh.
September. And I also have Books by the Arch
Mhm.
in October. And then I have Books and Bourbon
Mhm.
also in October. That's in Bardstown, Kentucky. Books by the Arch is obviously St. Louis. And then I have an event in Des Moines, Iowa in November.
Iowa in November. Yeah,
I
let me
know.
know how that goes.
I don't know what I was thinking. You know,
You missed the map.
I always tell people our books are, and we were talking about, they're an escape.
Yep.
They're something to go on an adventure. And doing these events, I've been looking for events in places I've never been.
Okay.
Um, because I always wanted to travel. So it's like, you know what? I can go to these places. I can meet some amazing readers, some amazing authors in all these different areas.
Mhm.
And so it was like, oh, there's an event. Okay, let's sign up. Let's see if I can get in. Because a lot of these events book a year or 2 years in advance.
Mhm.
Um, so it was just, okay, yeah, I signed up and didn't really pay attention to when that one was. And now I'll be in Iowa in November.
It'll be an experience.
Exactly. Hopefully it won't be too bad of a weather or anything.
You never know.
Exactly. I can hope. Otherwise, I might be on my socials crying, saying, "What did I do?"
I am still on the road.
I'm on the side. I scared.
Yeah. You have to
Where's
make sure Chris goes with you for that one.
exactly? Bring someone. Be like, I can't do anymore. Somebody else take over. I gotta be passenger princess for this one. Which I do have a passenger princess that's coming with me to a couple of my events.
Okay.
My best friend Ashley is coming with me to a few of my events. So
Well, that's good. It's always good to have that travel partner go with you.
yeah,
So, well, this has been so much fun catching up with you, and I can't wait to see you again in person at the
yes,
end of June.
it'd be so much fun.
I know it's gonna be great fun. But thanks for taking time out of your day to come on here and share about your books.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to our event. It's going to be a blast, and hopefully, we'll see everybody there.
Exactly. Thanks, Tanya.
You're welcome.